does it take to be an Ironman?
I have no idea yet, so we're gonna see how that goes. Look, this is my first one and it's a 70.3, so I am really excited to see, I guess, the journey from now to the actual race. But in terms of what it takes, I know as much as you right now, so yeah.
Do you think you have what it takes?
Yes, definitely. I know that I can do it, it's just how I get there.
My goodness.
Who do we have here?
This is Soxy. She is a Netherland Dwarf cross mini lop bunny rabbit. Mini lop, which is her floppy ears. And she's my little sidekick, honestly. I am truly and utterly, unconditionally in love and obsessed with her. She can't. She wants to run away right now. I don't know if it's shared, but no, she actually truly is really, really cute. And she's just my little, she's my home, and I love her so much.
Oh.
Yes, say hi. The training is one thing, and that's the part where, for me, it's you're sort of taking it week by week, and I am doing it by myself. I don't have a coach, and so I've just put together my own program, but there's never the thought in my head, oh, what if I can't finish it? It's not really about that. It's more just, I know that I can do it. It's just how I get there. And it's how I've approached my training throughout my life, and this is just the next challenge for me. And endurance sport is obviously a whole different, I guess, category as opposed to, powerlifting or dancing, but the same mentality, the same dedication, the same discipline, it always applies. And I always approach all of them with the same amount of commitment. So in terms of whether I can do it, I know I can. The motivation, to be honest, if I may just take a step back to give context, but I think I grew up as an only child, and it was just my mum and I, and we have such a strong bond. She's my best friend. And growing up in an environment where my mum was my number one support, she came to everything. She sacrificed so much for me that she has always been my motivation. And so I think when I'm really, really struggling with, if I'm even just going through a long run, right? Or anything, if I'm going through a very difficult period, I will think of my mum to get me through. My discipline, though, I think really just has come from my dancing. That the discipline you learn as a dancer becomes so ingrained into you that your mindset just shifts so significantly. It was never, if I can do it, it's just that you will do it. And my dance teacher was really influential in that regard. There was just one day where we were doing something and he said, it was just this sort of leg extension thing, and I just said to him, I said, I can't do it. And he just grabs my leg and he puts me into the position, and he just says, don't ever tell me that you can't do something because you just did that. And I just think in that moment when I just was able to do this thing that I completely thought that's just impossible, I could never do that. I remember I remember where in the studio I remember just sort of staring at myself in the mirror for a split moment. I was 14 and I just thought, oh, okay, I can do anything. That was just mentality. And so the discipline just, I already had it, but then that was just sort of set off a bit of a fire in me to be okay, no worries, I can do it then. The swimming is, look, I'm not going to even beat around the bush. The swimming is one of the ones where I'm I just need to get through that, and I just need to almost compartmentalize from that entire stint of the race. And I have been swimming, I have been doing laps, I've been dabbling in like ocean swims and all of it, and I find it enjoyable, but I just, yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's not something that I think I would say comes as naturally to me as other things. It's probably been the biggest challenge, I would say. And I think even just, you know, you can have this baseline of fitness, right, from running and cycling. For some reason, when I get in the pool, it's like, why am I'm running out of breath after like 3 strokes, and I'm like trying to just keep to the 3-stroke rule, and then I'm just like, well, now I just feel lightheaded, and like, it's just been a bit of a journey. And I wish I could say that I enjoy it just as much, but I do find, because it's a bit more of a new environment to be in, it takes a while to get used to it, and then also like get into the zone. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I also am just like, my goggles just keep, anyway, look, it's fine. I'm not gonna even, no. It's just, it's actually so fine. It's just like anyway, it's not even funny. It's just my goggles keep fogging up or getting water in them, and then I'm like, oh, it's just like a funny sport. I'm just, yeah, it's. I can't push on.
That's fine.
It's just, I just laugh at myself when I'm swimming. It's just because what else am I going to do? It's either I laugh or I cry, so I'm just going to laugh through it and then get out of the water, and then that's done. But my biggest issue is that I just get very cold very easily. So I'm hoping this new wetsuit I've just bought is going to actually like stop me from getting hypothermia in the water. So far, every time I've done an ocean swim, it's taken me like 2 hours to cool down, to warm up, sorry. So anyway, but yeah, otherwise it's fine.
How have you found that being a woman? Because I feel like it's, up until fairly recently, I feel like it's always been a taboo subject, being a woman, and talking about your womanhood. How have you found that, balancing that with training?
It was the first thing I checked when I bought the 70.3 ticket. So only recently have I started actually sort of thinking about my training and how that should be tailored depending on where I am in my cycle. For me, training when I'm on my period is just sometimes literally impossible. Like, you're just in so much pain. You just, you know, I would go from being able to run however long to then one day not even being able to run 2 kilometers. Similarly with powerlifting, like I was sometimes, there would be a day where I can bench 65, and then the next day I'm like, why the heck can I not even bench 57.5? Like, what's happening? Like, it's just, and then you're constantly just like, why is this happening? Why am I all of a sudden just like not able to do this? And it's really frustrating. And then you realize why, and then you're just like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. I just know there's been quite a few times where I've gone to track, and track is sort of where you really are pushing yourself aerobically with your running, and you're doing these speed sessions between like 6 to 8 Ks. Every time you go there, you're wanting this, you're sort of at this certain pace, right, where you're like, yep, cool, this is how I'm going to be running it. And then there's just days where one lap of that track just feels like you just can't go any further. But I think the pain that we experience as women going through that, honestly, is just so excruciating. When I was in the marathon in the Sunshine Coast, and I was at kind of the 32 mark, and I was in quite a lot of pain, I just like thought to myself, this is not as bad as the period pain, so let's just keep going. And like, that is, I think, it just makes women so strong, and I just admire them so much with their training, because you really never know, obviously, where they're at and like how they're feeling, and you know, a really bad day, and that they're still pushing through, and it's just definitely made me more resilient. One of the biggest lessons I've learned over the last almost 4 years of kind of being in my career is ensuring that I'm making time for my health and fitness. It does mean there are many days where work is really, really stressful, where you're working really long hours. In those times, I am often deciding to have less sleep if it means getting up earlier to train. And so you really need to just learn how to ride that wave and ensure that your fitness and your training is riding with it.
Is this going to be the hardest thing you've ever done?
It's definitely going to be, I would say, the longest and probably the most physically and mentally challenging race that I have had to do, just because of how long it is as compared to, say, you know, in a powerlifting competition, you're doing a bench press and that lasts for, you know, 5 seconds max, and you're in the zone and you're ready, but your strength is there. It's just mindset for that small moment. Whereas this is, you know, it's like running a marathon or any long distance race, where you're really having to push through so many different mental barriers, and also keeping up your nutrition and keeping up your stamina. So in that respect, I'm sure it will be the most challenging. In terms of the actual preparation for it and balancing that with other aspects of my life, it's not something that I'm unfamiliar with. It's not something that I haven't done before. I've always had, you know, pretty much since I was 14, I've been having to juggle. If it wasn't, you know, school or academics or anything, whatever it is, I'm juggling that in conjunction with some sort of really intense training. So, you know, when I was 14, I was juggling school with, 14 through to 16, sorry, juggling school with dancing and training as a dancer, traveling to Sydney to do that, you know, and then balancing that with my studies and doing my homework on the train home. It was all sort of a build up to where I am today, which is I've never just had this one sort of profile or one identity in my life. It's always been, you know, I'm really passionate about my job and what I do for my career, but I'm equally as passionate about my sport and my fitness and challenging myself in other ways. And that's been the case since I was young. I've equally applied myself at school as much as I did my dancing. I equally applied myself at work as I did my powerlifting. And now this is just the next challenge. And I don't see how, as long as I apply myself with that same mentality, which I know I will, I don't see how it can be any different in terms of the preparation and getting to that stage. So yeah, I don't think, the race will be challenging, but the journey will be fun and interesting. Definitely difficult and very different, but I guess that's what makes it exciting.